Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Still That Girl series. I am your host, Jory J. We have part 3 of Shevon's story. So just sit back and relax and enjoy this episode.
In terms of working on my dreams, so seeing all that went by, I decided, you know what, I'm going to get my daughter an example. I need to grow up my child. It's going to be me alone. The economy in Grenada is not that good. I had to get out of Grenada. So I decided to try to get a loan, and I tried it so hard. I went through all means and I was not taking no for an answer. I whatever savings I had, I put towards getting my student visa, putting it as a down payment for the loan and everything. I worked, whatever money I had, I put in. I had leftover, like just before I came out, I had leftover like $3,000. $2,000 out of that went towards my daughter's grandmother to take care of her while I was gone. And the next $1,000 was to come up to pay my first month's rent at the US. I had no money. My loan wasn't approved yet, and we were still working on things. The land title that I thought would come through, there was some issues with it, and we had to use another piece of land, so they were working on stuff. So I came up here, just that 1 month rent, not knowing where anything else is coming from. I thank God for free food on campus.
I know that so well.
Free food. And I had like $20 left over from rent. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make that work. That $20 had to shred. And for 3 months straight, I survived on $20 groceries per month. And my loan finally came through, but it wasn't disbursed until January of the next year. My loan finally came through, but whole time through the semester, I was crying. I cried because every minute ISS would call me. When are you paying your loan? When are you doing this? When are you gonna do that? You need to get it paid before you start the next semester. You cannot register for the next semester like that. It's not paid because you do the how do you call it again? Where they allow you to go through the semester, and then they charge you about 10%. Yes.
The payment plan.
So I was on this payment plan. I didn't make any payments. Semester coming to an end. I'm crying. I'm thinking myself, you know what? God help me because I need a scholarship. I need money. I don't know where it's coming from, but God help my loan to come through. My loan got approved. For a lesser amount than I had hoped, but it did get approved. I also got, at the end of the semester of November, I got a job with the athletics to sell food, and that was my start. So that was my start selling food. So at least I started making a little bit more money to try to sustain myself. I then got another campus job. I was using it now, so I was making okay enough to pay my rent. And then my daughter's grandmother was pressuring me every month to send money for this, and that's her father's mother. Was pressuring me every month. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in school. I still tried my best for my child. I still tried my best, and I ensured that I still sent. And I understand that she didn't ask her son for anything, so it was me. I was being pressured. But you know what? I said, let me think. And actually, God helped me through my first semester. I was able to at least come out on the honors roll. in that first semester, and it opened up a lot of doors for me. I was able to get into research in the chemistry department, which gave me like $2,000 towards my tuition from that January go forward. So
was this each semester?
Each semester. Yeah, so that helped me to move forward. Actually, it wasn't each semester. It was
year.
Each year. Yeah. So that helped me at least cut out a chunk of my tuition. Fast forward to the beginning of no, it was my third semester. Yeah, it was the end of my third semester. Beginning the fourth semester. So it was that January before I had to graduate. So it was January 2018. So I sent my tuition statement to the bank so that they can pay my loan. They can disperse for my tuition. The loans officer would tell me, we are out of funds. We only have. I'm like, why wasn't I alerted before? Oh, they had to take some money, or they had to take $15,000 out to cover a loan that my dad took. So I was really shorted on that. So I said, okay. Last semester, I have like about $800 US to pay the school. That's all I have left, and I don't know. I have 3 more semesters to go. I said, you know what, God, you come through for me before. Come through again. I worked. Any little extra time I could pick up, I picked up. And at the end of the semester, I paid a certain amount, but I didn't pay all. Then came a scholarship that I applied for that hardly anybody applies for. So I did get that Ken Island Huddleston scholarship, and that gave me like $3,700 for the year. So I had to take from that and go back and back pay my tuition so I can continue. So that really came through, as well as the Good Neighbor Scholarship came through just in time. Good Neighbor Scholarship, my tuition was covered for the entire last of my semester. That was only God. And I said, you know what, that is God blessing me, like for everything and all the sacrifice I've made from before. That is Him blessing me for investing in someone else's education when I should have been investing in mine. So I was fully funded. My last year of my school was fully funded, and I didn't have to pay. So everything worked out perfectly fine. I didn't have the extra. I didn't know how I was going to finish.
Yes.
Or anything. I didn't know how I was going to make it through, but God did come through for me.
That's good. That is so good.
Yes.
So I know you were off fulfilling your dreams, and you wanted to provide and be a better mom for your daughter, but how hard was it for you to leave her back home?
It was very, very hard for me. Like for the first 2 weeks, I cried every night before I go to sleep because she was my little teddy bear to hug up in the night time. So it was really difficult without her. I had so many pillows I had to sleep with so many pillows around me so I can, feel, pretend like she's there. So it was really hard for me. But I did try to ensure that we did have visits in between. So yes, in that first year, she stayed with the grandma. Then the grandma started asking me she asked me to send $10,000 in advance to send my daughter to school. She was about to start primary school.
So was she going to private school?
She said yes, that's the only school she can get to send her in. So she needs $10,000 up front. I wasn't working, and this whole situation, but someone did step in. A lady back home who always used to help pick her up on evenings and take care of her. Her name is Mrs. Garvey. She did step in, and she was a guardian angel, and she didn't ask me for anything. She was like, save your money and pay your tuition, I know you're struggling. And she took my daughter back in Grenada, and she took care of her.
Angel in disguise.
Yes, she took care of her for me for most of the time. until then, in my child's other year, the grandmother decided, like she was getting a bit jealous that that lady was doing so much that she decided she wanted her back. But I said, I let her know that if you want her back, you're going to be paying those big monies that you're asking for. So don't take her out from where she is safe and where she is stable.
Yeah.
To ask me for anything. She did try to ask me for stuff in between, like to fund her for school trips, or she has to go to a doctor visit and stuff. I didn't mind. I did try and make sure. Yeah. But yeah, all in all, I think the values I instilled in her from since she was small and the way she grew, she was able to adjust. She was able to adjust and she kept the discipline that I taught her. And yeah, she just made it work. I always, spoke to her. We spoke every day. Not a single day would go by and I wouldn't speak to her. We spoke every day and I would show her that, you're going to see mommy soon.
As the mom, you spoke about how close you and your daughter are.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a mom, did you have more compassion towards your mom because of the decisions that she made? Like, did it make you kind of have a softened heart towards her?
Oh, yes, it did. Like, even though, yes, my mom did make her mistakes and I always considered a mistake that, she made at that point in time based on what she was going through. I always still try to keep close to her and, she always, try and pray for me and everything. I love my mom a lot because I've seen how she struggled to really single-handedly raise me. And I respect her a lot for that. She would make water out of stone. Or she would go to the ends of the earth to get me something that I want to eat because I was in my early years, my mom used to have to walk very far to go get plantains for me, ripe plantains, because that's all I would eat, ripe plantains. So she couldn't get it. Like, she would walk very far, an hour away, 2 hours away just to get that for me. And I really appreciate that sacrifice she made. Like, that was all I was eating and she didn't want me to starve.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the good basically outweighed the bad.
Yeah.
The bad memories that you had.
Yeah, it does.
So going back to your college, talk about your last year. I know you received some distinctions and stuff, so just talk about that.
You went to university, right?
Yes.
Okay. So graduation from university. I graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, minors in Mathematics and Biology, and that landed me a position as part of a Ph.D. student program in the University of Texas at Dallas. So full tuition plus a stipend that's gonna pay my housing, and just really take care of me and take care of my daughter for the time. So that's, I got into a PhD program straight from a bachelor's because my grades were really good.
And this is in science, guys, and mathematics.
Yeah, so I went on to pursue my PhD in chemistry. So going in and fitting in, it's not like a Caribbean school. I came from this environment that I had Caribbean people. I felt like in total isolation. It was just me and one other Caribbean student, and that school is so big and so wide that you feel so separated, and you don't feel the kind of close-knit community that you feel as part of being in Midwestern State University. So it was different for me. But I still did well. I still excelled. I still studied hard. I would go to bed at 10, wake up religiously, 10:30, sometimes 11. Wake up religiously at 3 a.m. every morning to study before I go to class. And I would have a long day. Sometimes I have to do laboratory teaching assistant, 3 sets of labs during the week. It was really tough, but I made it work.
So, and at this point, you had your daughter, so you were able to bring her to Texas with you.
Yes, so I had already gotten her F2 visa in her in my second year. I worked so hard towards that, and she came to live with me from the time I was able to do my PhD, because I was now in a position with my stipend and full tuition to take care of her.
Wow.
And to really to take care of her and to be able to focus and have a roof over my head without any worries. So I was in a stable position, and that was my plan all along. My degree was told to me that I would finish in 4 years. I took night and make day. I did 21 credit semesters, 18 credit semesters to finish, so I can finish up earlier, so I can have my child with me faster. That was the ultimate goal, to have her with me and not to have her away for too long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were going through all these challenges, but still completing a semester, 18-hour credit, 21-hour credit. That is amazing. Definitely amazing.
Thanks.
So talk about the experience for her. How was it like being reunited with your daughter, finally under the same roof after 3 years? What was it like?
Well, it was so refreshing to have her again. It was like she's a whole new person. Like, I left her so small, and she's like a whole new person. I'm learning her again.
Yeah. And how old was she at this point?
She was 6.
Okay.
At this point, I left her at 3. She was 6 at this point. And yeah, I'm learning her again. And I realized, like certain things I had to start dealing with her, and like tell her, try and rediscipline her in certain areas. Because when you leave them with grandmothers, they get spoiled with food, and they so I had to like retrain her in certain ways. But yeah, all in all, she was happy to be back with me, happy that she had her mom under the same roof. Still the same spoiled child who likes to stick up and not give me my space on the bed. That hasn't changed.
So, in all these accomplishments, where are you now in life? What's happening with Shevon?
Okay, so now I recently defended my master's thesis in chemistry, which was very successful. I didn't want to pay the late fee, so I pushed my graduation towards the summer. So I will be having my diploma in hand by summer.
Congratulations.
Yes. As a result of this accomplishment, this has landed me a job as an adjunct professor at a community college in Dallas.
Nice.
So I'll be pursuing that, as well as a Ph.D. in neuroscience. So I let them know I was about to turn down the job because that opportunity for that Ph.D. in neuroscience came up. And then I said, let me be open and let the lady know that, yes, this opportunity came up. I want this opportunity. And I also want to take this opportunity to pursue my PhD. And she said she's doing the same thing. And she told me, we'll work around it.
Wow.
Show up for my hours. And yeah, so everything is working out. I prayed about it. And I said, this job, I actually applied for it by mistake. I had to apply for another one on the website, the part-time one, and I accidentally applied for the full-time one.
There's no accidents with God.
I was just about to tell you that. So I realized that there's no accidents with God.
Mm-hmm.
After the first interview, I didn't think I would make it to the second interview.
Mm-hmm.
Second interview, I didn't even, think, because I didn't finish my presentation. I didn't even think like, okay, I would get in, because they said there's so many candidates. So then that manager personally messaged me, and she let me know, we want you. We want your work ethic. We want your experience here with us. HR is going to take a while, and on Monday I start.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm going to be pursuing both.
You can do it. We
Yes.
believe in you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
that's awesome. So what? Give us an update on your daughter.
My daughter, well, she's 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing excellent in school. She's just acing it. She has brains like her mom. But
Mom,
I think she's
mother.
better than me. Yeah, so she's doing extremely well. Still very respectful. Everyone speaks highly of her. Very disciplined child. So she's doing well, and she's doing okay without having her dad in her life. But I do have a boyfriend who I've been with since she was 3. So he has been really that father figure in her life, and he's taken his role really seriously.
Wow.
And they have a really tight relationship. So although she doesn't have a biological father in her life, she does have that father figure.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So all these great things are happening for you. You know, you have a great job. You have good health. Your daughter is doing well. How did you feel in all this?
Like a lot of the times, I would question as to, is this really happening? Like, I've prayed for this, but this is really happening now. Like even with the whole job opportunity, I'm like, God, yes, I prayed for this, but I felt kind of scared that yes, it's happening for me, but like sometimes I kind of doubted, do I really deserve this? Like, look at how much God is blessing me, and do I really deserve this? But you know, someone spoke to me and they told me, do not, you ask God for, you pray and ask God for all these things. So right now, just claim it. Just claim your blessings and just be thankful. Just say thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, and receive everything that you know, because you deserve it. You've been through so much.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right. So how easy or hard was it? Because I know your new boyfriend is back home. So how is that long distance? You know.
Well, it's
it
working.
Works. Mm-hmm.
It's been 5 years, so it works. It's been working from the get go. We've been making it work. So.
And I'm happy that you found someone, you know,
yeah.
to change your mind about men completely.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. He's awesome. Like, I have no worries. He hasn't given me any reason to doubt him, any stress over these years. Like, he's my place of calm. Like, that's my best friend. I can rely on him for anything, and he has been really supportive right through. So early up in our relationship, when I just came up, I didn't want to tell him my financial stress and stuff. So like, I tried to think, and then he would just send stuff at times. But I think God was using him. He would just send stuff at time in and between. That really helped me. He helped me get my laptop and stuff when I just came up, because I was renting from the school. I didn't have the means. I was renting every minute from MSU, borrowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he sent me my first one, and ensure that he invested in me.
Good. So if you could choose one of the stages, whether primary, secondary, pre-college, university, anytime, what would it be? And what would you tell yourself? Like, if you could have the opportunity to change something or give yourself a piece of advice, which time would you go back to, and what would you tell yourself?
If I did have the opportunity to go back, I would go back to my pre-college self. Not pre-college, actually.
College?
During my college self. And I would speak to myself, and I would tell myself, you know what, yes, all these opportunities are there. You feel like you don't have the means, but still go after them anyway, just anyone random, just go after them, and God is gonna work it out for you. Because everything I was waiting until I had the financial means. I was always waiting on something, but I realized that day when I prayed before I got up that morning, and I prayed, and I said, you know what, God, show me a way out of this. And I don't know, God works in a very mysterious way. I happened to turn on my TV at 12 p.m. that day in January. And what was on the TV? An advertisement for Midwestern State University coming down to the beach at 1 o'clock. We'll be there from 1 to 2 p.m. Come and discuss how you can get into university. I had just showered, and I jumped in some clothes, grabbed my daughter, we hopped on a bus, and we went down to the beach. I brought her down. She was this little cute little thing on the ground. Brought her down, and and I, from there, I realized I didn't need to know. From the time God is going to show me, I didn't need to know how I was going to do it. I didn't need to know the how. I just needed to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That yes, I'm going to go through darkness. I may not see the way now, but step forward. Just make that step forward in faith. And if I would go back to my college self and tell my college self that instead of waiting on financial freedom, I would go back to my college self and let my college self take that and go forward and forget about how it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Wow, that's good. What advice would you give to a young woman who, you can pick a stage in your life, because I know you've been through different stages. Either one who is going through a struggle where, you know, they feel abandoned, or maybe somebody who is in a bad relationship and they don't know how to get out, or just somebody who has been struggling with family issues and stuff. If you could pick one, or even touch on all of them, what advice would you give to someone in that situation, or in those situations?
Okay, so if anyone is experiencing probably issues with your family, it's always good to have another family member or so that you can trust, or someone on the outside that you look up to, someone that's influential and positively influential, maybe in church, someone you can speak to, and you'll try to, if ever you can have like a family meeting and just go through this, have these talks and just unpack together and try and get to the bottom of this, because developing a healthy relationship in the early stages is always necessary. If you can always try to get that healthy relationship and try to get your questions answered, why this, why that, then you're gonna have a clearer vision going forward. In terms of a narcissistic relationship, if you are going through a type of narcissistic relationship, and signs are, one, they try to always blame you and they try to treat you nice for a little while and they always go back. Let yourself tell yourself that that person is not gonna change. Get it deep down in your head. Narcissistic behavior starts from childhood, and it's a really, really hard thing. Or if there's any change, it has to really come from a deep spiritual change. Only God can change that person. But most of the times you don't sit down and you don't try to change and you don't try to intervene. And another thing, focus on yourself. Ask yourself at point in the relationship, are you happy? Are you happy? Are you doing this for you? Or are you doing this for someone else? Or are you doing this for the public eye? For what people would say, if you break up with him and you probably go with someone else. Forget about all of that. It's better to have a multiple happy relationship than you have one really bad relationship, abusive relationship, dragging on and on for years and you're not happy. Especially if a child is involved, get out while it's early. Get out because it will scar that child mentally. I always think back to that day, and I always remember my child, she gets scared of certain things sometimes. Like if she always thinks, like she hears a loud scream, she starts crying because she thinks someone is abusing someone. And I think that has stemmed from her from since she was 6 months old, and she got up and she experienced that. And I think it's really, really hard. You don't want your children seeing that. You don't want your children experiencing that. So if you have a child, get out and get a new environment. If you have to go far, far away, get out and get far. And if they come back, just remember, do not go. They're not gonna change.
So now that we've heard your story, Shevon, and it's a good one, I know it'll definitely bless different people, not only women, definitely men can benefit from this story as well. So now that we've heard your story, why do you think you are still that girl? Why should we think that you are still that girl?
So I'm still that girl because I persevered through all these trials. I endured. Yes, I tried to be my own strong man and my own therapist and try to solve my problems on my own. But I think I'm still that girl because at the end of the day, no matter how bad my situation looked, no matter how bad my future was predicted and the naysayers would say whatever, I still rose above it all. I rose from the ashes and I'm here shining today and accomplishing everything that they said I wouldn't have because I didn't grow up with the Me Too. So I came from a poor community, and I know I'm still that girl because my vision was always to inspire other young people coming from that poor community and letting them know that you can get your key out of poverty is through education. So I'm still that girl. I've always maintained that type of stance, and this has always been what I've been wanting to do my whole life, get out of poverty through education. So I'm still that girl because I think I've accomplished all these things, and I've used my education as my tool.
There you have it, guys. You've come to the end of another episode of the Still That Girl series. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you are always still that girl. Do you have an inspirational story to share? Would you like to be featured on our next episode? If so, please contact us using the information displayed on the screen. If you'd prefer to tell your personal story anonymously, please complete the form by clicking the link provided in our bio.